Ever get this weird feeling like you're not just stuff, but something more is going on in here? Being aware, thinking.
Hmm.
How do we even deal with that?
It's the age-old question, isn't it? What is consciousness?
Exactly. And the wild thing is, we've got your research here diving into both hardcore science and the ancient Hindu philosophy to try and crack it open. Who would have thought?
It is fascinating how these two seemingly disparate realms seem to converge on this fundamental question.
Right, so let's start with the sciencey stuff.
Hmm.
Quantum mechanics, brains. This Orch-OR theory you've got highlighted here is seriously blowing my mind.
Yes, orchestrated objective reduction. It's a very ambitious theory.
Yeah.
Basically suggests that consciousness might be happening because of quantum stuff, but like inside our actual neurons.
Well, look, quantum, like the tiny particle stuff messing with something as big and complex as my brain, seems like a long shot.
It's definitely a leap, no doubt. The idea is that these quantum processes, the kind we usually only see on super small scales, might actually be influencing how our neurons talk to each other.
Okay, so instead of just electrical signals zipping around, there's more to it.
Potentially, yeah. You even highlighted a study here about quantum vibrations in these things called microtubules.
Right, those tiny structures inside the neurons themselves. What's the deal with those? And vibrations.
So this research is saying these microtubules, they might be able to hold these quantum vibrations and those vibrations. They could be how our brains process information, leading to, well, us experiencing, well, anything. Consciousness, basically.
So instead of my brain being like a computer with electrical signals, it's more like a quantum symphony with tiny vibrations making the music of thought.
That's the gist, though it's still early days. Big debate on whether this delicate quantum stuff can even happen in our warm, messy brains.
Yeah, good point. It's like trying to keep a snow globe perfectly still in the middle of an earthquake, right?
Pretty much. But even if this Orch-OR thing is only partially right, it could totally change how we see the brain, how we see ourselves. And then there's the whole entanglement thing.
Oh, right. The whole spooky action at a distance bit. Two particles linked no matter how far apart.
Exactly. Particles linked across the universe, acting like one. Some people think this entanglement thing, it might actually be playing a role in consciousness itself. Like, maybe it's how we're connected to something bigger than ourselves. Wild, right?
My brain's definitely doing some entanglement acrobatics trying to wrap itself around that.
Yeah.
But what's really tripping me out is how some of this quantum stuff kind of echoes these ancient ideas, like in Hinduism. You've got that in your research, too.
Absolutely. For centuries, Hinduism has been saying consciousness isn't just something stuck in our heads. It's like a basic part of reality itself.
Right. Like in one of these articles, the whole Atman and Brahman thing. I got to admit, I'm a little fuzzy on the specifics.
So Atman is like your individual self, your soul, kind of. And Brahman is like the ultimate reality, universal consciousness. The idea is Atman is actually part of Brahman, like a drop of water in the ocean.
So we're all connected, like
Yeah.
little drops in a giant consciousness ocean.
That's the idea. We think we're separate, but Hinduism says that's Maya, the illusion of separateness.
Whoa, hold on. Maya, illusion. That almost sounds like what we were talking about with quantum physics, right?
Yeah.
How particles don't really exist in one specific state until you observe them.
And isn't that a thought? It's like both these ancient traditions and modern physics are pointing at the same thing, that how we perceive reality might not be the whole picture.
Man. So, meditation. Big in Hinduism, right? Quieting the mind, all that.
Yeah.
You think that's got something to do with all this?
It's a question more and more researchers are asking, and you've actually got some recent studies in your stack here looking at what meditation does to the brain.
Yeah, the whole thing about meditation, changing your brain structure, how it works. I mean, that's wild.
Right. And they're finding that regular meditation, it can actually boost the gray matter in areas of the brain linked to things like focus, empathy, even how we handle emotions.
It's like we can actually train our brains to tap into these different states of awareness, the ones that usually get drowned out by all the mental noise.
Exactly. And it's amazing how ancient wisdom and modern science are starting to kind of paint this bigger picture of consciousness together. It's pretty amazing when you think about it.
It's really making me rethink what it means to be, well, us. Like maybe it's not just about what we're thinking about right now, but about being part of something way bigger.
It's humbling, isn't it? And what's even more exciting is that we're just scratching the surface. Imagine where this research could lead, the kind of understanding we might achieve.
Speaking of which, you've got some seriously futuristic stuff in this research pile. Brain-computer interfaces, even telepathy. Is that where we're headed?
Well, you've highlighted some articles here speculating about exactly that. Imagine using tech not just to move a robotic arm with your thoughts, which is already a thing, but to actually tack into different states of consciousness.
Okay, now that's both incredibly cool and kind of freaking me out a bit, to be honest.
Yeah.
Imagine being able to share thoughts directly, no words needed. The possibilities, but also the risks.
Right. It's a huge responsibility figuring out the ethics of this stuff before it just happens to us. Like you highlighted, who gets access to this tech? Who benefits? Who gets left behind? These aren't easy questions.
And how do you even start making rules for something that could literally change how we see reality itself? It's like trying to write the instruction manual for a machine that hasn't been invented yet.
Exactly. But those conversations, we gotta have them now. We can't wait until it's too late. It's like that old saying, with great power.
Comes great responsibility.
Yeah,
Yeah, I feel that. It's like we're standing at the edge of this whole new world, and it's both exciting and kind of scary at the same time.
exactly. Exploring the potential of consciousness while making sure we don't misuse that knowledge. It's a tightrope walk, that's for sure.
This whole deep dive has really shifted something for me. It's like, yeah, there's the everyday stuff, the thoughts we think, the things we worry about, but then there's this whole other layer, this connection to something much bigger than ourselves. And honestly, that's kind of awe-inspiring.
And maybe that's the biggest takeaway of all, right? As we learn more about consciousness, whether it's through science or spirituality or both, we start to see how everything's connected. It's like glimpsing the incredible mystery and beauty of just existing.
No doubt. It really makes you think. So, to everyone listening, we've covered a lot of ground today. Quantum physics, ancient Hindu wisdom, even what the future might hold. It's a lot to wrap your head around, that's for sure. But the most important thing is to keep that sense of wonder alive. Keep asking those big questions. Keep exploring. Who knows what amazing discoveries are waiting for us just around the corner?